of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody?
What is up?
It's another episode of the NFC East Show. This is the playoff edition, the wild card spectacular playoff edition, and Black Monday, where
And
some
Tuesday.
of the Giants, and Tuesday. There's a lot of people, a lot of coaches, all of a sudden disappeared. Most notably and most recent, Pete Carroll. How about that?
Yeah, and it to me it's obviously a forced move. It is
to move on to the office.
You can see the emotion in his eyes. You could see how it just tore him apart. But I don't know about you guys. I'm looking forward to retirement. Okay, I'm looking forward to just sitting on a beach, waking up, doing absolutely nothing, living the rest of my days, spending all the money that I saved up, not leaving anything to the kids. I get coaching as a drug, and it's one of those, because geez, Belichick's 103, right? He got to be 103. And he's just
actually, but that's...
okay, add a couple years, but still, 103, including all the Super Bowls he won, but he's still hanging in there, doing his thing. But yeah, best wishes
so
Pete Carroll.
far
To date, yes,
they have
to
not. They haven't made a full decision on that, and I still think that he's going to disappear, especially now since Mike Vrabel also got let go.
Yep.
That's the talk. Yep, that's the talk.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on there, but let's keep it close to home. Wink Martindale is going back to Card Sharks. I know nobody gets that joke. You guys
I don't think that's done yet.
Wink Martindale being the host of Card Sharks.
He parted ways. He did fill out
the necessary
paper. Yeah, he filled out the necessary paperwork, and they definitely look. I think in social media land of the New York Football Giants, it's interesting, and I'm going to say this right. Look, he's the head coach. No, I'm sorry. Dable is the head coach. He could do what he wants to do. Wink did not want to resign. He wanted to get fired because had he gotten fired, he would have gotten the $3 million. Look, and I know people are questioning why did Dable say in his, press conference, I expect Kifka and Wink to be back. They want to be back. Wink said this is a destination. I get why he said all that, but my only question is, did Dable already have in his mind that he was going to let go his assistants, his defensive back coaches? There's a lot of speculation as to why, Dable wanted to, fire the defensive back. And both of those coaches were Wink's right-hand men. I mean, they were there from Baltimore. The linebacking core was not as successful this year. Okay. We were in the bottom 20 of defense, and we needed some improvement. Now, a lot of people, their speculation is that Dable, forced the hand of Wink, kind of force Wink to resign rather than get fired. I disagree. Dable wanted Wink back, but Wink wanted his guys. And I know there's some talk how Dable wanted more, put in more input on who the next linebackers were, and there were some exchange in words, and I'm going to say this from my understanding, they weren't getting along throughout the season, and the players weren't aware. Okay, nobody was aware of it, but to Dable's credit, the fact that they kept it in-house between them two all season long, that just shows the professionalism of both of them.
I'm going to say, I remember a couple of months ago when I said that those two guys were not getting along. You can see frustration on both sides. So, I mean, while it looked that way, yeah, I think he wanted – you're correct in that statement that he wanted probably to get fired. Who wouldn't want to get fired and get a collection plate of $3 million?
Right.
Same time, the angst between both of them, I think it was just more frustration. And what you said, of him not having the ability to choose who he wants at linebackers, why even be there? He's not going to be coaching the guys that he wants to coach. He's coaching some other team.
Right.
It's just impossible either way around. So,
and I want this to be known. To me, the firing of Bobby Johnson and the resignation of Wink Martindale, for me, this is personal, right? And the reason being is I got to talk to these guys on a couple occasions. I had some actual awesome conversation with Bobby Johnson about the O-line, about the type of scheme. And I also had a good conversation with Wink about, the defensive scheme. He kind of taught me a little bit about the defensive side of the house in the few times that we've had conversations. So it sucks to see them go. But the only thing that'll cure all this is wins. That is it. That's all that can cure all of this. So hopefully, Dable, this will be a good mood for Dable, and we'll be on our way.
And then reading right there too, jumping to the other side of the river to the Washington Commanders, seeing Rivera be overdue on that firing is just, I guess the decision was made when the ownership took over that he was going to let him go out through the rest of the season. And,
right.
There were some sparring words. I don't know if you read the comments from Rivera on his way out, but, you can see the blame that he put on the former owners and the former, the things that he was saying. He was just, it was build up frustration, and I could see it after several years of not receiving any help from where he was at as a position of getting, players and everything else that was revolving around Washington at that time. So,
and sadly in this business, everybody understood that once the ownership changed hands, that they were going to have a fresh start because, the new ownership doesn't owe anything to Ron Rivera. The fact that he was there the rest of the season, at least they gave him that. And I mean, he would have had to have pulled off a miracle run for them to even justify keeping him in. And they're not only going after a new head coach, they're also going for a new general manager, player personnel. I mean, from ownership down, they're looking for people.
Yeah. And nobody's safe right now. I mean, across the board in the NFL. I was hearing this morning from the mouths around the league how it's turned military style. It's what you can do for me now, and that includes, which was crazy thoughts to me. And Philly, I want your input of Sirianni already wanting to get rid of him after this. It's like, what are we talking about here? I mean, all the talking heads this morning were talking about how Sirianni's job was on the line. And I'm thinking the guy was just in the Super Bowl last year. He's in the playoffs this season. How do you expect to get rid of somebody like that with that type of record? It just didn't make any sense to me. So I was wondering what was going on your side of the fence there.
Me personally, there's
what you're hearing there.
Yeah, that's all media driven.
Yeah,
that's absolutely all media driven. Because I could ask the same question in a worst case scenario. If the Cowboys lose to the Packers, is he gone? Is your coach gone?
No.
Yep.
No.
You wouldn't think so.
Correct.
So he's here.
I actually think he would be gone. I really do. I think Jerry Jones would be. Look, last year, I'm gonna tell you, when they had that press conference after the draft, and Jerry Jones said, "We got the players, we have the personnel, we don't have the coaching." And then Steve was quick to be like, "Oh, it's jokes. It's jokes." No, McCarthy and Jerry, they were the only two not laughing.
Well, of course not.
I really believe, look, I'm gonna be honest. And I say it's personal because, with Wink, look, he has his family in New York. Bobby Johnny, they have families, they have kids, they got a home, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of them. So I'm not wishing McCarthy to get fired. Now, let me just say that point blank. But how Jerry is, and Jerry even said he don't have much time left. Okay. And to where if he don't get it, if he has a first round exit, not making the NFC Championship game for the third time in his tenure, he's not going to do what he did with Garrett. He's going to, again, this is all speculation. It's all assumptions. But now Nick Sirianni, Philly, I'm surprised you still have that little piece of mohawk left. The utmost collapse of the Philadelphia Eagles in the last 5 games. The only team you guys beat was us, and that we could talk about penalties back and forth about that. But the collapse, how you guys were 11 was it 10-1 going into the San Francisco game? And here, you were on top of the NFC, you were on top of the division, and you had the utmost colossal. All you had to do was beat Arizona. Okay, couldn't do that. Couldn't beat the Giants. And I'm going to tell you, when I realized that the Cowboys were already beating the Commanders. Well, first off, going into the game, yes, I wanted to win the game. Because I'm sick and tired of you guys beating us. I'm going to admit that. I'm sick and tired of Dallas beating us. So at least we went 3-3 in the division. And
by the way, happy birthday, Nathaniel. Because he's talking about the cow, them beating us. I wanted to make sure to say happy birthday.
Oh, okay. And also, my birthday was yesterday too. But I had But anyway, seriously, I got to know how you feel And then going into Monday night, which I don't think. Look, I'm not saying it because I hate the Eagles, but I love the Cowboys. Just so you know, for the record, I think the Green Bay Dallas game should be Monday or Rams Detroit. I don't believe you guys should be the primetime game. My opinion, of course.
Well,
but what's your thoughts on the collapse of the Eagles?
So I feel like we got a little hosed by the scheduling and how the scheduling worked. Playing the 49ers on 3 games in 13 days after they got 10 days rest. The first quarter, everybody forgets the first quarter because second, third, and fourth quarter wound up being so bad. But the first quarter, we held them to -6 yards, walked down the field and had 150 yards of offense that only equated into 6 points. Now, hey, they didn't let us score. So that's a different scenario. The following week, after getting beat up by the 49ers, because we got beat up because we were exhausted, you have Dallas on another 10-day rest, and us coming off of now 4 games in 20 days. And Dallas beats us, and they beat us pretty handily. We're still tired. Then we go up to Seattle. They flex the game to Monday in the middle of the week. So you're doing really all your stuff the way normal, but then you're on Monday. You know what I mean? So it changes the whole way that you do things. And so they don't really get a chance to rest because it's a weirdo flex. They don't have it planned. And after spending 40 minutes on the defense in Dallas, you get Drew Lock looks like Joe Montana in the last 2 minutes of the game and wins the game. Then you go the next week. Now you got a normal week that actually happens going against a coach who Nick Sirianni said he's going to absolutely try to embarrass. The players kind of feel like that they lost the Super Bowl because of this coach. And this coach coming in and saying, this is my Super Bowl. Amongst anything else, we can't let this team beat us. And they won. So now you've got, now you got the Giants. It's like, okay. They went up to New York. I feel like they had a bonding session amongst the team. They didn't really care about the game. They really didn't. They put some starters out there because they couldn't just not play. And, the moment A.J. Brown, it was like A.J. Brown got hurt. What was it? The next play that he dislocated his finger. And that was the next thing you know, they're both out. And they're resting. As they should have been from the very door. But that's why they don't pay me the big bucks.
Well, they did care. The Giants did care. They showed that on the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, are you talking about Philly? Oh, okay. My bad. My fault.
Yeah,
my fault.
Giants cared.
Okay.
Yeah, the Giants were excited. Hey, listen, I congratulated all the young kids who have never seen the Giants beat the Eagles.
Or the Cowboys, I mean,
that's
look,
a real
look,
statement.
and look,
that's a real statement.
I wish I could counter that, but even Nick, my own son, after we lost to the Cowboys, and then we lost to the Eagles, first time around, are we ever gonna beat them? I mean, it's frustrating. It is frustrating. I'm being honest.
He'll beat them. He'll beat them when he gets drafted by the Cowboys.
Like hell. Like hell.
Listen. I know. Sure as hell. Your son gets drafted by the Cowboys. You're wearing a Cowboys jersey with your last name on it. No doubt in my mind, Sneaky. No doubt in my mind.
I'll tell you what.
And your Dallas Cowboys jersey might be his number that says "Let Go Giants" on top of it.
I'll tell you what. Let's get to that first. Let's if Jerry would draft Nick just to piss me off. He would probably draft
He
him
loves
right after.
trolling me. He loves trolling me.
He would probably draft him right out of high school. Won't even play a down. Send all the Nike cowboy merch just to. I'll be like, F you, Jerry.
Get ready for it.
So, but realistically, I feel like that the Eagles. Yeah, listen. The last time that anything like this even occurred was the Ravens, and they won the Super Bowl. So, not that I say that it's an impossibility. Not that I believe that I feel like we're Super Bowl ready either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do feel that this week is a get right game. It is a get right game.
Is that the 2012 Ravens, not the 2000 Ravens?
No, the 2012 Ravens, 13 champs.
Yeah, because that 2000, that defense, I mean, that carried that whole team.
Yeah, and to go answer your earlier
questions, it did that in 2012 too. But
to answer your earlier question about Monday, why they got that spotlight, it was presented in a way that I understood it best was because the 4 and 5s play, because that really doesn't decide the schedule after the other games are played. So the other teams know who they're going to play. So that's the reason
That's why they do it at the very beginning and the very end. The very beginning and the very end. The 4 and 5s always play in the very beginning and the very end, so that there is no that whoever wins that game is going one spot.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because by that time, you're right, because the 6 and the 7 are playing over the weekend.
Yep.
So
right. That's why the first game is 4 versus 5. You know, it's like, it's funny as that sounds. Cleveland versus Houston could have been anywhere. You know what I mean? Because I honestly, I feel like right now that's going to be a better game than trying to watch the Kansas City game on the Peacock. I mean.
You amongst other people have pointed this out, and it's not faring very well for the Peacock channel.
I think it's hysterical. Actually, I really do think that's funny. I thought it was a funny joke.
It was, and it's one of the it's I've been saying it all year since after the 2012 or the 2020 draft in Cleveland, and talking with the NFL executives on who assists with the scheduling. It brought something to the forefront with the way that they do it, and it's no longer done with the chalkboard and actual individuals. I mean, individuals do get into discussions, and they do see the schedules that do come out and try and narrow them down between a million, but there's no more than that. Nobody looks at the players, the stats. It's just all AI driven. So anyways,
I get it. It is what it is, really. Truth of the matter, it's like it is what it is. That all being said, going back to our game, I feel like that you're about to see the best game out of this team that you have all year long. And the national media will change so dramatically. Like, oh, is this Philly team meant to be afraid of? Like, they did go to the Super Bowl last year. They do have the weapons to be able to do this. Have they become the real dark horse to make it?
Yeah.
Do I think they're going to make it? I don't think so. I mean, I honestly believe that the 49ers are going to be too tough of an out. However, if things happen the way that I expect them to, or not expect, because Green Bay is going to be a tough out. And we'll get to that in just a few seconds, because we'll talk about the actual games coming up, not the games that just passed. I think Green Bay is going to be a tough out. I think the Rams are going to be a tough out for Detroit.
Right.
And it wouldn't surprise me if the NFL got everything that they wanted in the script to have divisional games for the divisional playoffs.
Yeah,
I mean, in a
I can
real
see that.
sense, like
Yeah,
that's what they want. They want Eagles Dallas. They want 40 because they want the 49ers to play on Saturday against the Rams because they know nobody in LA cares. And they would have Eagles Dallas on Sunday night starting at 6:30 at night. Am I
yeah.
wrong? Am I wrong? You'd have to
No.
get me tickets for that one. I'm sitting next to you. I'm sitting next to you, Drew. But that's that's no bull. Let me know how much it is. I'm buying the ticket next to you. We're sitting together, and we got to be down. We got to be there. So,
Yep.
if anybody wants to sponsor, I know there's a lot of people watching right now. Anybody wants to sponsor that? Let us know. We'll be more than happy to wear your company on our shirts if you're going to buy those tickets.
And that goes for me too. I'll bring my sign. 28 years and counting.
So,
in the hopes I'll raise it at the end of the game.
But that I think that's what's real. I think that's what the NFL really wants. Will it happen? I can't say that for certain, but I believe that's what they want, and that's likely. It's possible. It's very possible.
Oh, anything's
possible. But I mean,
the only other thing I can think of is that Green Bay really upsets you guys. Like if it goes over. If it goes over, and we'll talk about this in a minute. If it goes over, Green Bay has got more of a chance than they're supposed to. Short of a big blowout. If it goes back and forth with you guys, I there's something about Green Bay and you guys in the playoffs that Dallas comes out on the losing ends lately. Remember when we had Dean Blandino. He said it was incomplete.
Yeah, that was.
And let's not forget 2016, where Rodgers had that crazy pass where he had his feet, the feet were in bounds, rolling to his right. I don't know. I mean, to me, this is, and then we can even go far back as the Ice Bowl, the first Super Bowl with Green Bay and Dallas.
Yeah, we can go wherever we want, but we're going to be going this weekend. So
true.
We're taking it to them.
And that's so listen, since we're going to, let's segue right into that, since that's going to be the game that first shows up here. It's going to be the Green Bay Packers, 4:30 on Sunday afternoon, going up against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. The over-under is, let me get to it right now. The over-under is 50.5, and Dallas is a 7.5 point favorite.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I know where we're at as the Dallas Cowboys. I know where we're at with our defense. I know where we're at with our offense. And I do know what the Packers are bringing to the table. And it's not going to just be, willy-nilly. The Cowboys are going to run away with it. But what I do believe is that it's not going to be a back and forth towards the end of the game. Green Bay has a great run offense. We still haven't shored up the center, the middle. We're still allowing those big rushing yards, but we're still holding on towards the end, allowing field goals. And that's what I see this game. I think Green Bay is going to get their 2 touchdowns. But with our secondary, the way they've been playing, even with Gilmore hurt, he got injured this last game, hurt shoulder, but he will be good to go this game. With Love playing in there, I'm not taking anything away from the kid either. He's a great quarterback, or he's a good quarterback. He hasn't proven himself yet, but he's got that little it factor right now. You could see it the past 5 weeks. But I think the defense of the Cowboys is going to hold on, and I think Micah and DeMarcus Lawrence are going to be putting up that wall to try and stop what they've got going. Now again, I'm not saying they're going to stop every run. Some runs are going to get through. But I think the Cowboys' defense is just going to prevail on this one. And not only that, Dak is playing good ball. He had an interception last weekend that was tipped. It is what it is. But he had 4 throwing touchdowns. He's had over 4,000 yards passing, 30-some touchdowns. The kid's playing good. I think he's playing good enough. McCarthy, I think the coaching will be changing up a little bit more. I think he's going to be I think the Cowboys are going to do a little bit more offensively than what they have been in the past, this past year. So I've got the Cowboys going to win this one. And I'm not saying, again, it's going to be easy. It never is. No game in the NFL is ever easy. But the Cowboys are going to take this one probably like 33-17.
All I got to say, if I'm not saying win, I'm not going to say win. If by some weird luck that Green Bay wins, you are the only one I will defend leaving your content on. But every other Dallas Cowboy fan out there better shut their stuff down and go back to back in the day where there was no such thing as social media. True, I'm going to tell you, and I mean this from the bottom of my, if you'll be the first person I think of. And if you need a hug, brother, I'll come down to AT&T Stadium, find you, give you a big old bear hug. I'm not saying it is. I do believe you guys are going to win. I do believe it. Okay, because you guys are 8-0 at home. That carries. That has to do. That's the only reason why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Oh, I got you.
I would have it. I would put it. Philly, what was the over under?
50.5.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Because when you guys beat Tampa the way you guys beat Tampa last year, and yes, Tanya, they can definitely come join me on the couch. You got an invitation. True, you're more than welcome to come join me on. If it will be. I'm telling you, the moment they walk off the field, McCarthy is going to be driven to his car, and he'll be asked. Not even Jerry won't even do it. Jerry's going to have somebody tell him, "Give me his pass, give me his badge," before he leaves, and he's done. He is done.
You know what that sounds like? Do you remember a couple of years ago, True, when we were in Philadelphia and the Dallas Cowboys had technical difficulties with their plane? They couldn't get off the runway. And then we found out the reason why they couldn't get off the runway is because Jerry Jones didn't want to let Jason Garrett on the plane. That's a real statement. That's not a surprise. Like I wouldn't be surprised if, hey, listen, I hope that you're right that after that game, that Jerry Jones doubles down and says, "Hey, we want him as our coach for the next 20 years." Because I think he's a terrible coach, and I think that I would love for him to be your coach forever, because he's never going to win again. That being said,
well, what I'm going to finish.
I'll be honest. I think you guys win this game. I really do think you guys.
Yeah, and I think the better incentive that I have for Coach McCarthy is that he's got Coach Quinn right there next to him. I know I have my frustrations with Quinn as well on the defensive side.
Listen, I know McCarthy's really big, but Quinn is up in the booth. McCarthy's down on the field.
I'm not talking about that.
But he's not that fat. He doesn't have that.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the support between them in the meeting rooms, the meetings that they're having with the players. I think it's just that extra little strive of support, compared to where we were at last year. Things have really changed. That's the thing that a lot of folks don't see internally. There has been a lot of changes internal, the way that they proceed with meetings, the way that they carry themselves, around the players themselves, the way they carry themselves around the coaching staff. It's an all-around thing that a lot of people just don't see, and I think it's for the best of what Coach McCarthy has done this year, and you will see a different team this playoff. I believe it. I see it. You know, everything that's been going on this past season is, like I've been saying from the very beginning of this, since this season, is that Coach McCarthy's not putting all his cards on the table, defensively, offensively. Wait till we get out there. Wait till we get to the playoffs. Then he's going to show you something else. And I think the Cowboys will with this game.
Oh my God! If Green Bay. Oh my God!
That's just Sneaky's wet dream right there.
Oh yes.
Matter
of fact, my nipples are getting hard right now thinking about it.
I do a podcast every day now. Every day, from 12 to 2, I do a podcast, and I do a podcast with a Cowboys fan and a Seattle Seahawks fan. And there is no amount of space that they could put between us if by chance the Green Bay Packers win this game. That will allow, like, I can imagine he not wanting to show up to that podcast because how bad he will feel at the end of that.
Statement's true.
I would absolutely destroy him because, again, the Eagles will have made it further in the playoffs again than the Dallas Cowboys.
And
now, I would not do the same thing to you, True, because I actually appreciate you as a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yes. Yeah, that's why
this guy's from Houston, and he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. So he's a lot frugazi to me.
And that statement is true. Since the new format where they had the additional, 7th team in the playoff, no 7th seed has won in the first round. But there has been 2021 where the Dallas Cowboys was the only division winner not to advance when they played the 49ers.
Well, let me, what's funny, I don't know if you guys saw the pre-show on Fox, the early show before they kick off, but they had America's team, and it had, of course, the Dallas Cowboys, but they interviewed the fans who love to hate the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm offended that I didn't get a phone call because I am the Dallas Cowboy head. Continue.
And you could only imagine the mug that they used in the background of the Dallas Cowboy fans for everyone to hate.
Yeah.
So trust me, guys.
Was that you? Was that yours?
Yeah.
So that was you. So you were the mug. I was the most annoying fan in the NFL. So listen, we have it all on this show.
Yeah.
That's why we have people tune in. That's why they tune in.
Yeah, and that's the great thing, That's why I see it and I hear from fans around the country, and I get it. I do get it, and I see it. But you know what? I'm not going to let it bother me one bit.
There you go. And listen, so this is a good segue here. As we're finishing up the Dallas Cowboys fan, I'll come back to you, Rob. I will come back to you because there ain't no chance. Ain't no chance in hell. You're baked already with Baker Mayfield. You're already baked. So you're going. Let's go. But anyways, finishing off on the Cowboys. I think that you guys do win it. But I think it also is going to be much, much closer than you want. And because they're a scrappy team. They're the youngest team in the NFL. They're very scrappy. They got in here. They're playing with house money. I think that when you play with house money, you play a little too much. As somebody said in my podcast earlier today, the Cowboys like to play with their food. And sometimes it comes back to play with them.
Well, also, let me give you the numbers real quick. Between Dak and Love. So Dak threw for 4,500 plus yards. Love threw for 4,100 yards. Dak threw 36 touchdowns. Jordan Love quietly threw for 32. 11 picks for Jordan Love and only 9 picks for for Dak. So I'm not saying that Jordan Love is exactly like Dak, but I mean they have some very comparable numbers at minimum.
And here and again, if Green Bay happens to be listening to me, here is how I would attack the offense. I'll be dead honest, because most of those interceptions from Dak this year have come from the third read. That he has a very similar problem to Jalen Hurts getting to the third read. Now, the first read is, CeeDee Lamb, 1,700 yards. The second read is the tight end. Sometimes those are interchangeable. When he has to get to a third read in less than 4 seconds, that's where mistakes are made. Now, the offensive line has been healthy this year, and they have given him those 4 seconds. But if you are going to pressure him, if you can get him to make him have to look at the third read, that's where the mistakes start to get made. And I feel like that there hasn't been many teams that have been able to get him to that point this year. What do you say to that?
No, it's what I see. What I see from Dak Prescott is somewhat in that, but far more is that he's had more time in the backfield, and he has had time this year to go through his progressions. The only the tough games that he had was the Niners, and of course the Eagles up there where the pursuit was happening on him. But again, this game, I believe we're going to be going into a different phase of the Cowboys offense. I think stuff is going to be shifting around. And again, I think we're going to see stuff that we haven't seen all season. I think that's going to be the only change. We'll see some occurrences where it does look similar, but I think things are going to be really changed up coming into this postseason.
All right. So that being said, let's transition to the other games so that we can actually pick these two games. Actually, I'm going to see if we can try to pick all of them, but I know we like to talk. The Eagles going up against the Buccaneers.
Love to
talk. The Eagles going up against the Buccaneers. It's the 3-point and 43.5. I feel like I said, I feel like that this is the time where the Eagles are going to play some of their best game. I mean, it's just not that you could get past Tampa. You can't just dream past them and think that you're going to win. This is the playoffs now. Everybody is 0-0, and to the what was it? Was it Keith? Was it Keith? No, it wasn't Keith. It was Rob. Rob, who said, "There it is." In 2021, they did beat us, but we weren't supposed to be there in 2021. I mean, we made it there kind of like on a whim. Like, hey, we made it in, and I think we lost the last week. That we could have been like the 4th or 5th, whatever. Didn't quite work out. We were the 7th seed, and it was Jalen Hurts' first time in the playoffs. I remember a drop, bad fumble that kind of killed us in that game, and we were do that. But I tell you, you ain't got Brady anymore, and your team stinks out loud. You ain't got Sue. You ain't got Brady. Your team has got Baker Mayfield. And you know what Baker Mayfield does in the playoffs? He loses. He loses.
What is the I'm seeing Jamie, I believe
There's
that's the name.
Jamie. I knew he was coming. I knew he'd be here trying to talk some smack.
What is the report on Brown? Was it a cramp? What was it going on with the leg?
It was a knee, right?
Yeah, it was a knee. He got hit on the knee. Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah, of course.
My honest opinion. I watched the hit. I think honestly, I feel like he embellished a little bit because he fumbled the ball. I think it was a tough hit. It hurt a little bit. He embellished a little bit, and then all of a sudden, people started kneeling around, and then he had to embellish it a little bit more.
Sell it.
Yeah, exactly. And then he got up and walked off. I think he got hit in the knee. I think he's probably got a bruise on his knee, and he's fine.
I got you.
That's what I believe. That's what I believe. You know what I mean?
Well,
The same
you
thing
did say that you didn't want him playing. You didn't want any of your starters playing, and that this is one of the reasons. Because now I'm leading into Jalen Hurts with that finger, because I did see that finger and it didn't look well.
I was about to mention
No,
that.
they put it back into place. They jammed it right back into place, and there wasn't even much swelling, which is also good. And there was no fracture. So I said, I think that it was a little bit of a scare for both. They said, okay, I'm going to listen to Pags now. Hey, listen, he said, nobody should be playing this game. Guess what? Put out Mariota. Where's Penny Hardaway? Where's Penny? Let's put Penny out there. He ain't had but 3 carries all season long. Give him his 4th and his 5th carry. We're going to have the guy who returns punts catching balls.
Yeah, it was so crazy when I did see that finger. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
I was like, oh man.
I do want to add that Baker Mayfield, when he was last in the playoffs with the Browns, he did lead that team to a victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they went on to play the Chiefs in the divisional round, which it was a close game. It was 22-17. So, and I don't think playoff experience means anything in the NFL. But knowing that he knows, that he has that feeling of a victory in the playoffs, one could assume that it means something.
Yeah, and that's where I'm leading with that is like with the injury report, and then the side of what you're saying of Baker Mayfield in the postseason. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and I without a true health report, on both players, it's toss up in the air actually, because I do think the Bucs are playing somewhat better on the defensive side, even though they didn't put up the numbers against Carolina. They've only got 3 field goals on the offensive side of the ball, but it's 0-0 going into this matchup. The Eagles are traveling after 2 banged up plays from AJ Brown and Hurts. So I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. And then Tampa Bay with the home field crowd. I know the Eagle fans travel well. It's going to be, like I keep saying,
lots of tickets available. Lots of tickets available in that stadium.
Yeah.
So let's be for real. Be for real. I know Jamie is there. Yeah, nobody cares about the Panthers. Defense. Yeah, nobody cares about the Panthers. So I don't know where that even came from. See, this is what I'm talking about. I got Jamie, a Bucks fan, and Rob, Bucks fans, talking about, hey, we're 5-1 in the last 6. We played Sister Mary the Blind twice as Sister Mary the Poor, and the rest of the NFC South to be able to win the division because they all sucked. Listen, do you remember earlier in the season what it looked like when Philadelphia came to town? When the Philadelphia Eagles came to town, we were left with a smackdown of the Bucs.
I will say this. At least the division winner has a winning record. There was a time where it was looking the fact that they were going to be
like last year. They won the division and did
7-9 or something like that.
Yeah, and then this year,
8-9,
luckily,
8-9 last year.
There you go. 8-9, and then this year it's 9-8.
9-8.
Luckily.
Woo! So much better with Baker.
At least,
you're above 500.
Yeah, exactly. They're not one game out.
Well, guess what? They're going to end their season at 500 because they're going to be 9-9 after they get their butts smacked down again.
There you go. You heard it from Philly.
So what would be the bigger upset, the Eagles or the Cowboys?
Of course, the Cowboys.
Okay, good. All right, we're on the same sheet. I just had to ask that question.
Yeah, the Cowboys.
I just had to ask that question. True, I swear, folks. Oh, Lord,
I tell you, I wouldn't be able to protect you on that one.
I don't think you know what? I would do my best, True. And God forbid if, and you came on the show Wednesday, which I know you will, mad respect, bro.
Oh yeah.
Mad
Listen,
respect.
listen. There's not many Cowboys fans that I love. True Blue is one of them.
Choose
He's
one of
one
them.
of the ones that
Yes.
I love.
Yes.
So I will give the love. All right, so let's talk about the games for actual. Let's actually give our things here, since I figure we'll get 5 minutes on each game.
Okay.
Yeah. Browns Texans, real quick. No response. Browns Texans. Who do you think?
I'm gonna say Browns. That defense is tough.
I'm gonna say Texans at home.
I got Texans at home too. I think that they played recently enough, and the one thing about D'Amico Ryans is he's very good at fixing the problems that were wrong, and I think that that's going to be the case here. Flacco goes down,
Yep.
as too much to Tanya's chagrin. The Dolphins and Chiefs on the cock.
Like you say that the Eagles are on the come up. I'm gonna say Chiefs are on the come up as well. I'll say Chiefs.
Yeah, I think with the weather pending there with the snow, it's going to be a snow game apparently. So I'm going to have to
Not a
take the
snow.
Chiefs.
No snow.
Just cold. I'm sorry, just really cold.
Very, very
Yes.
-9.
Yes.
Yeah,
-9.
yeah. So I'm going to take the Chiefs on that one.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs too, and you could tell like already the Buccaneers fans can't pick football games, so I already know exactly what's going on here. Steelers Bills 1 o'clock on Sunday.
I gotta go Bills. I think
Yeah.
Allen has a little bit left in him.
Bills at home. You got to
yeah,
go.
definitely. Bills Mafia is going to show up. Definitely Bills at home.
Yeah, and that's also going to be a very cold game. Not that it's going to be as cold as Kansas City, but there may be snow in that game. I don't think the Steelers have enough, and especially with T.J. Watt out, they're done. The 8 o'clock game that night, I'm skipping over the Cowboys, obviously. Rams Lions.
Oof.
I gotta go Lion. I'm taking the home team on this one. I don't know I'm not sure what the spread is, but I
3.
just think, yeah, I think the Lions are a little too much.
Man, you say that it's a home game. I know they're not allowing Stafford jerseys into the stadium. So this could be a homecoming for him per se. So I smell an upset in the air with this one. I have the Rams.
I think that this is going to be a great game to watch. But I got the Lions. I think the Lions fans are going to be way too much. It's going to be very difficult to here and there for
Yeah.
the Rams, and I think that it's going to be knockdown, drag out, not high scoring. It's got a
Yeah.
51.5. I think it's under, and I think that the Lions pull it out. And I think it's going to be much closer, much stronger defensive game than what the over-under states
Correct.
there.
Yeah, I think Campbell is he's gonna gamble a couple times. Don't be surprised if you see a fake punt. No pun intended. True. No pun intended. See, no punt intended. See what I did there?
There you go. All right. The 4:30 game on Sunday. The Green Bay Packers are 7.5-point dog against the Dallas Cowboys. The over/under being 50.5.
I'm gonna lead it off. I'll take the under. And yes, true. I love you, but I hate the Cowboys. Loathe them entirely. 27-20. The Pack.
I'll go on the opposite side of that. I actually think it's going to go over. And if it goes under, I think the Cowboys absolutely win it. But if it goes over, I think that means that the Cowboys defense is letting up too much and that I got it 34-31 Pack.
Yeah, as I said it earlier, I've got the Cowboys 33-17.
Which puts it in the under. Under by half a point, but it's still under.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can't let them score points. So I mean, I'm choosing the Packers right now because it doesn't matter what I'm doing here. But I think you guys will win this game, but I want the Packers to win 34-31.
I'm telling you. True. Lord Jesus.
And then if the Packers win, I want the Rams to win because I want a division game at home as a wild card team.
It has happened.
No, it hasn't.
No, I'm sorry. The Patriots and the Colts, they were a division. They both won their division. I'm sorry. My bad.
Right. Yeah,
that was
never
the year
been a wild card team ever.
Yeah.
There's never been a wild card team to host a playoff game ever.
All right.
So it can only really happen this year once the Cowboys lose. The Eagles and the Buccaneers on Monday Night Football, the second Monday Night Football of the year for these two teams together. They both played on Monday night earlier in the season, September 25th. The Eagles are a 3-point favorite, and the over-under is 43.5.
Go ahead, Drew.
It was like I was saying earlier, without that health report and seeing the injuries that have occurred with the Eagles, and especially that on that throwing hand, I just can't see Hurts passing the ball the way he wants to, even though there was no swelling. There's still some stuff lingering. I think this is going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. So I do have the Buccaneers winning this one 20-19 with the last minute field goal.
Okay, I hate to say this. I got Craig on telling me that you realize that the Packers are not a good bet with your knowledge of football, not your heart. Well, I hear you, Craig, but I do hate the Cowboys. Anyway, I'm sorry. What are we talking about?
The Eagles.
Oh, the Eagles. That's right. Okay, yeah, the Eagles. Yeah, I'm with you with the finger and with Brown's injury to his knee. Philly, I'm sorry. I don't have faith in the Eagles. Although that's
let me ask you this one question.
Not saying much. It's not saying much.
Let me ask you this one question. Was it his index or was it his middle finger?
Middle.
Ooh, that's where the
grip's
was at.
I mean, it was bad. It was bad.
Like I said, it didn't even swell.
Yeah, that still hurts.
Yeah, it didn't swell though.
I've broken my finger before.
The pain could be gone already.
Yeah, that's true too.
But it's the durability of it. You know, he may not be able to, and it's the middle finger. And being a quarterback, that's the most important finger because that's the last finger that's supposed to leave the ball when you release it. So it might hinder him a little bit.
All right, let's hear your stat, Philly.
So I agree that he probably won't be passing the ball a lot because they're going to do exactly what they do best is run the ball. And I think that they're going to go back to what actually has worked for them in the past because they're going to realize, hey, we do much better running the ball than passing the ball, and we're going to have to do what we need to do. And I think that that's what's going to do it. We're going to have about 38 minutes of possession time by running the ball, and I got it 31-10. I think it's going to be one of the most complete games, and you're going to start to see a turnaround of the national media saying, oh, are we afraid of the Eagles now? Like that's going to be the headlines on Tuesday. Are we afraid of the Eagles now? Did they change their season? It's got to be something like that. Winning this game 21-20 or losing the game. I think losing the game doesn't get Nick fired. Does get the coordinators fired. I mean, I think the coordinators are going anyways. But if they don't win this game in a blowout, there's no chance moving forward after this. I don't think that they get past the second round. But if they blow this team out, all of a sudden everything's right in the world and things could be different for anybody else who they fight, who they go up against. And I think
you guys needed a game to bounce back, it would be this game. And remember, all season long, I said it. You guys were not playing your perfect football, but you guys found a way to win. Now is the time to open up.
Now you need it. Now we absolutely need it.
Yep.
And you guys were third ranked against the rush back then too. And I think we've gained 260 yards on the ground. So I don't want to hear it there, Jamie. You know, you were there. I was there. I took a picture with you. And you know what? You went back home crying. All your tears went running down your face with your makeup. Because I know I was there.
Jamie, I don't know what you did to this man. He does not like you right now. No, I'm kidding.
So, but anyways, I will be down there, Jamie and Rob. So please come check me out. I would love to see you guys and give you guys a hug. Let you guys know and let you guys use my towel to dry your tears and stuff like that. I'm good for that. But anyways, hey, listen, guys, we're at the top of the hour, and I've got a major dart game today. We got major darts today, so it's this is where we're going up against like the top teams. Top
just
team.
for your tears, True. Just in case, just letting you know.
Never.
So, but anyways, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a great time hanging with you guys. Thanks for all the comments. We'll be back next week to talk about what happened this week.
Ooh.
Yeah, and listen, we'll have a lot to say if the Packers win.
More to say when the Bucks win.
But anyways, everybody, thank you very much. And as always,
let's go Giants.
Go Birds.
Hail to the Commanders. Wait, what? He said something like that.